If you had to choose between an organic food and non-organic foods, and they both have the same price, which one do you choose?
I would choose the non-organic one because organic food is a scam.
Do you really claim that organic food is a scam as a dietitian?
Yes, as a dietitian, I do.
Okay, so you say there is no difference between the food from Mother Nature and the food which is produced by factories. Could you please explain that?
Yes, okay, so when I say there's no difference, I mean there's no difference that you need to worry about. So non-organic foods make people worry about the pesticides that are used to grow them and, the GMO foods, so genetically modifying things, and people think that's bad. But just because they exist in non-organic foods doesn't mean it's gonna harm you. There was a study or a bunch of research done by toxicologists at the University of California, and they found that you would have to eat 453 servings of strawberries just to harm a woman. And this is based on the strawberries with the highest recorded pesticides. So basically what I'm saying is that organic foods, maybe their pesticide level is here, non-organic foods is up here, the limit that's gonna harm you is way up here. And there's data to prove that. So I don't think that's something you need to be worried about at all. I think a way bigger problem was the lack of fruits and veggies. So if you're pitting fruits and veggies against each other, I don't think that's helpful. I think pesticides issues are unheard of, but lack of fruits and veggies is way bigger issue.
That's really interesting to hear, to be honest, but I don't know, have you ever researched the history of cancer? So once we produce these GMO food and start selling in supermarkets, we start seeing more cancer cases in hospitals. How do you explain that?
Yeah, so that is true. Cancer is increasing and GMO food production is increasing at the same time, but that's just a correlation, and a correlation doesn't necessarily mean a causation. So just because two things both increase at once, it doesn't mean one causes the other, right? So there's also an increase in people going outside and hiking, right? Since COVID, since people want to post videos on social media, more people are hiking now. So the rate of people hiking also increases. It doesn't mean hiking causes cancer, right? And there's a lot of other things that are a lot more convincing that have also increased that are a lot more likely to cause cancer, right? So I would say that people just eating less fruits and vegetables and less fiber and more highly processed food, that seems to be way more closely linked to cancer. People who have those behaviors have a higher rate of cancer. People who eat GMO foods don't have a higher rate of cancer. So the American Cancer Society and the Canadian Cancer Society and Health Canada all say that there is no convincing evidence that GMO foods lead to cancer at all. Another thing I also want to say to people who are really worried about GMOs is, what are you actually worried about? Because I know society thinks GMO, unnatural equals bad, but I don't think anyone really actually has any knowledge about what health effects are you actually worried about and what resources are you getting this info from.
Well, of course, our knowledge is limited, but we all watch TV, we all have a doctor that we trust, and these people tell us organic food is a better option compared to non-organic food. That's why we have that desire to consume organic food instead of GMO food. Also, we all have someone elder in our life. They move out of the city and they start eating organic and they see huge positive changes in their body. I think all of us know at least one person like that. So how do you explain that?
I'm not going to say they're necessarily wrong, but I will say that someone saying, I started eating organic food and moved out of the city so I feel better, that isn't real evidence. That's not scientific evidence, that's called anecdotal evidence. So that means it's just one person saying their experience, right? So we don't know, if they were influenced by something else, if they also they moved out of the city, that could make them feel better. Maybe they started eating other healthier things. Maybe they also cut out other unhealthy things. And maybe they're influenced by placebo. If you're expecting to feel better, then you do feel better, right? So people sharing their experience, I'm not saying they're wrong, we just don't know if that transfers to other people, right? Because other people are all different too. So it's just your experience isn't really evidence. And you said something about doctors. Also, first of all, I don't think I've ever heard a doctor recommend you eat organic food. First of all, a doctor isn't a dietitian, so dietitians are nutrition professionals. Doctors are not. So I listen to dietitians, not doctors. for nutrition advice. And I also want to say, I don't even think doctors recommend organic food. I think a lot of doctors would say you should eat more whole, nutrient-dense food, and you should eat less highly processed food. I've never heard a doctor even say eat more organic food.
I'm sorry, but you literally expect us to trust those companies who only care about maximizing their profits. Okay? And you say there is no causation between GMO foods and increment in cancer cases. But by saying that, you want us to feel like there is nothing wrong to consume GMO food, but we just cannot feel comfortable by consuming those GMO foods just because of they all produced by companies who want to make money. Instead of trusting these companies, we prefer to rely on eating habit of our ancestors because they are feeding themselves with organic food for thousands of years and they are all fine. We know that by eating organic foods, we're not going to harm our health. So those researchers who cannot find any causation between GMO foods and cancer cases may change their mind in future and they may start finding some causations.
Okay, fine. So I do want to say that, like, sure, I guess researchers can change their mind. Science does change its mind a lot, and there could be longer term studies to be more sure of GMOs. Like you said, they're fairly new. So, like, fair enough, okay? I will give you that. But I want to say that just because our ancestors did something for thousands of years, I don't think that transfers into something that's necessarily good for us in 2024. Like, our ancestors were living till like 30. Like, they were not living till age 80, right? So a lot of the health issues that we should be worried about now, they never had to experience. So they never made it to 50, 60, 70, 80 to experience the leading causes of death, like cardiovascular disease and cancer. So a lot of things they ate, even though it would be so great for them till age 30, I don't know if that necessarily has really long-term health outcomes like that I'm going for. I'm trying to be a healthy 80-year-old, not die at 30. I think also a lot of things they ate were really good for them because they needed calories to survive. My goal also is not to just get a really highly calorie dense food to survive. And again, they had other factors too. They were actually forced to like go and exercise a lot, like to chase deer and to run away from predators. So I think you could attribute their health to all of the exercise they were doing. I mean, I think you probably exercise just as much as most of them, but I don't think most people do. So we don't know if it was the certain things they were eating. I don't think their goals are the same as my goals. So I don't know if that is a great reason to trust research on that. I will also say, I actually think you can trust factories and trust companies.
You can.
You can, yeah, more than you think. Yes, you're right. Of course, companies just want to make money and they don't have your like well-being. They don't really care about your well-being, obviously. I think if they could, they would totally put things in your food that were not necessarily very good for you, but made them more money. So that's fair, but I think you should trust like the regulations around the companies and what they're allowed to do. Because for a food to get sold and get put on the shelf, it has to go through like such a rigorous screening process, and any ingredients that are in the food, like those ingredients have been tested and tested and tested. They have to be approved by so many regulatory bodies. I think it would be really hard for companies to cheat and put something in your food that they're not saying, or put something in your food that's gonna kill you. And I also don't think it's really in the government's best interest to let them do that. Because like, we'll say like, okay, so Canada allows GMOs and they allow non-organic foods, but Canada also has free health care. So why would the Canadian government make it really easy to let all these toxic ingredients go into our food and make us sick and make us use up their free health care and get sick and stop working really early? So I feel like, I don't think it's that easy for companies to really cheat these systems, and I don't think it's in the government's best interest to let them do that.
Okay, I think this is a very good point, but I would like to tell you something else. Do you know why we are producing all those GMO foods? Do you have any idea? Do you know the reason?
Why?
Just because of we are 8 billion people trying to live in this planet, in this Earth's body, like a virus. And we have a huge desire to keep living here as 16 million people and then 34 million people in future. That's why companies want to make more foods just to be able to feed all those people. And by doing that, I think they are trespassing Mother Nature's boundary and destroying the true essence.
I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at you.
That's why companies produce that. And don't smile. Don't smile.
Okay, I'm done. I'm not smiling anymore.
You can look at me, but don't smile.
Okay.
And by doing that, they are trespassing Mother Nature's business and destroying true essence of the nature. So what do you say about that?
Fair. Okay, maybe they're destroying the true essence of nature. I don't really think that nature always equals good health outcomes, because even though intuitively like that doesn't sound very good, unnatural things sound unhealthy, I don't think you can say all unnatural things are unhealthy for us and all natural things from Mother Nature in the essence are really healthy and lead to no negative health outcomes. Okay, so like poison ivy is Mother Nature's essence. Poison ivy is natural, but it will kill you. I think soap is a really good thing. You can like wash your hands with soap. I think that's very healthy, but it's totally artificial. But it will, save you. A lot of antibiotics are artificial, but they will also save your life. Like a lot of things are artificial. I don't think it means it's bad. Like getting a haircut is artificial. Like we're trespassing Mother Nature's boundaries. Wait, what was I saying? Nature doesn't mean it's bad. And also, I think something about GMOs that a lot of people should recognize is that the invention of genetically modifying foods lets us produce a lot more food to feed a lot more people. So this way we can help end world hunger for the children.
The main problem that we need to figure it out, we are just overpopulated in this world and we are getting more and more every year. I hope at some point, instead of producing solutions like GMO food, we're gonna focus on the real problems of the world. We are too crowded for this planet. And right now we're desperately trying to find a way to go to Mars. I really don't like this idea because that makes me feel like we literally destroy this world. We cannot keep living here anymore. So desperately we need to find another body, another planet that we can try to live, and then we're gonna destroy that planet and then we're gonna find another one. I'm sorry, but this is just gross. I just hope that we find a better way to control our population and live in a harmony with the earth.
I don't have an argument to that. I think that's a pretty good point. I guess overpopulation is not necessarily a good thing.